Well, thanks, Miss Boy, and good morning, everybody. You guys all doing good, How are you doing? I'm so glad to be here. By the way, my name's Matthew Krastel. I want to say that again. It's really a great pleasure to be here. And I want to talk about my life. I don't want to start with how I'm like right now. Because basically, I'm getting too old, basically. But basically, I want to start with my young life. I was born in this town. I never moved out of the same house I'm living in right now. I was born in 1998. Can't believe it was that long ago, even though I'm already too tall. Basically, I was born and I didn't have a bad life till I was about 2.5. In April 2001, that was the day when I got diagnosed with autism. So I was almost 3 years old when I got diagnosed with autism, because my birthday's in May. And then basically once I started I went to preschool. I went to the Child Development Center, which is all the way down on Nelson Street. And then I was there from 2001 to 2003. And then in September 2003, I started going to kindergarten, but it wasn't here. It was at Uplands Park Elementary School, because that was my elementary school throughout my whole entire elementary years. But then once I started getting to grade 1, this was when the trouble comes in, where I got into all the anxious and the nerve-wracking and all the physical fights. But once I got to grade 4, that was where my worst nightmares came in. Because I got into so much trouble in grade 4 for physical fighting with other people. And, just being so rude and tolerant. Have you guys seen those moments here so much? Because it happens. It happens in almost every elementary school you've been visiting to or you go to. You see some physical fights sometimes at recess. And this happens. It never stops. It keeps going. Because when new people come in, they just have to learn that they need to stop fighting and being so physical. But then once you get to high school, that's when everything changes. And I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Then continuing on just after grade 4, my life improved a bit. So which basically that means, I had some behavior fixes, how I like to call it. My life was starting to get a bit better. Not 100% though. In grade 5, grade 6, and grade 7, I had some days where I was like, okay, I had a good day. And there were some days where I was like, oh no, I didn't have a good day. And then I had this EA, she's been working with me from grade 1 all the way to grade 7, which is quite impressive, basically. And she used to write something in. She had her own binder with all these, with a progress of all the days I had in school. And she wrote this chart where it had like the good to the bad and all that. And then on the bottom, it had some notes where she could write down how my day was. And most of the time, it had bad days, good days, but grade 4, it was worse. But I know it just kept getting better and better once I got older and older and older. And then once I started grade 8 at Wellington, where I'm at right now, it's a great high school, no kidding. Basically, my life did improve a bit more. But obviously, I was able to meet a lot more new friends. And I'll give you a fact right now. By the time you grade 7s get to high school, which will probably be Wellington, you'll meet a few times more people than you did than how you met here every single year. It's true. Like when I was starting grade 8, I didn't expect many people in a crowd of people. I was just looking at this place and I was like, wow, I'm going to meet so many people this year. And it turned out to be the truth a week once I got started. And then every single year when I started my high school years, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12, new people show up every single year. It's not the same people all the time. People can move somewhere, go to a different high school, or maybe they can move out of town, like let's say in the mainland, or in Alberta. It could be anywhere. But obviously, it's easy to make new friends especially if you should make people feel welcomed. Like I was having a warm welcome by Mrs. Boyd, Mr. Young, and all the staff here and the students. I was so welcome to be here. I'm thrilled to be here to present to you guys. And I want to talk about now my life with pretty much a year, just over last year now. Basically, I had a major change last year. Last year in my sleep, I was in grade 11 back then. I was trying to go to sleep one night, and you're going to find it funny, but obviously I couldn't get to sleep. I just couldn't get to sleep because I was trying to close my eyes and go to sleep, and basically my brain was trying to keep me all busted. It busted me big time because I'm going to just imagine it. My brain was talking to me. So I think the brain just turned into a staff worker. And obviously, it was telling me, just in my own mind, I think the only easy way I can change my life and have more people talk with me and show respect is I should do the same thing to them. And that's what I did, because the next day when I went to school, I had to make a huge apology. And you know how it's like when you have to make a huge apology of what you did that people thought was cool, but it really wasn't? You get what I mean? It's really easy to do that. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even talk with any counselors or anything to change my life. Because usually that would happen when you try to change your life, is you talk with a counselor about it and be like, how can I change my life with this? It was just easy for me because I just thought of it in my own mind. Just in my sleep. And that was it. Nothing else. Then once I made the apology, then everything changed. And then basically, just the week after I changed, I started to teach autism and give people advice about relationships, just like how Mrs. Boyd does. And Mrs. Boyd pretty much was smart, probably smarter than I am. No offense. And basically, throughout right now, the grade 12, I'm just really glad to, be the one that cares. Not just in high school. Just coming here, seeing all of you guys with your happy faces. Because I'll bet you guys were all excited to be here just for this special event. And I was really glad also to see Mr. Young here. Because what he was saying at the beginning, where he was talking about me having I had a good connection with Mr. Young. Just giving you that fact. Because he knows my dad really well for many, many years. Because he used to play hockey with my dad, and actually one of my uncles, which he's a twin brother, basically. And they used to play hockey together. But they don't play anymore, but they used to. And then my dad also knows the principal I have at my high school right now, Mr. Lintott. A really good principal, and Mr. Young, he's a really good principal. Let's give him a big hand, come on. And the one thing I was really impressed when I met him last year, and this is only the second time I saw him. I was able to see him today. And basically when I saw him last year, he did something where, I can't remember, I think you guys are still doing it, where you have this bucket, and then you had all these things where if you had a great day, you get, was it a prize? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it was. I remember that. I was like, he's the only principal that does that. I just was like, I wish that this could happen in high school. Like with my principal in high school. Or anything like that. But once you get in high school, we have an award ceremony that always happens in June. And we always get these awards. And last year, at the last awards ceremony I was at, I got an award because I had shown school spirit. And basically what it means by school spirit is basically you try to show that you care in the school. Not just to students, like all of you guys, but to the staff and everybody. And then basically that happened, and I was like, whoa, I got an award for that? I knew the reason why. But obviously the one thing I should also make too is everybody's different. Like you were saying, everybody is different. It's the truth. I'll give you some examples. First of all, not everybody's the same way as everyone else. As another example, not everybody eats certain foods that everybody eats. For example, not everybody eats any type of burgers. I don't eat burgers. None. Hamburger cheeseburgers, I don't. And not, she said I do. And not everybody watches certain movies everybody likes. Like, there's two examples I can say. Not everybody watches Disney movies. I don't watch Disney movies anymore. And not everybody watches the Home Alone movies. I don't watch Home Alone. I never owned any of those movies. See, everybody is different than other people. You can't just be like, when you tell somebody that, say for example, do you want to watch some Home Alone? And I was like, no, I don't want to watch Home Alone. And then you're like, you can't be like, you've never watched Home Alone? Because you know why you would, if you ask that, you know that that's actually rude and disrespectful. If you hear somebody say that, just to be like, okay, cool. Just what about something else? Because I've heard these moments so much in my life. I hear people say, like, are you serious? You know, and all of that stuff. That's so disrespectful. Nobody understands that. And also what Mrs. Boyd was saying too about patience. Almost everybody I know is not patient enough. Like I was always patient just coming here, and I had the patience of hearing everybody, like coming in, and basically. But let's say, for example, I have a really good example about this, about patience. Say, for example, you're in a traffic jam, like a really long traffic jam, like on the Nanaimo Parkway is the worst part. Say, for example, you were in the car and you were trying to relax because you were stopped in traffic because of an accident or serious, something like that. And then what if you were late for something? Basically, you can't just be like, oh my goodness, when is this traffic going to be over? You shouldn't say that. You should say, this traffic is going to be gone, the traffic will keep going soon enough. The key is you need patience with this. Patience with everything, not just traffic jams. Patience with everything. Patience with recess, patience with days going by, especially days going by like that, because everybody likes weekends. Like, I'm okay with weekends. I just don't want, I'll give you a fact, so many people like birthdays on weekends. I'm not a big fan of that. Like, my birthday's on a weekend this year, which is a shame. If it was a school day, it's better, because you know what the difference is between having your birthday on a school day than it is on a weekend? Having it on your birthday, you see almost the same amount of people you have, and then you could wish you happy birthday rather than, messaging you saying happy birthday. But on the weekends, it's that way. Unless if you had time to like book a party or something, but I don't do birthday parties anymore. So basically, with my life, I was just thrilled and honored to just basically see all these awesome faces. I'm thrilled that basically grade 7s here are making a big step very soon. In 2 months' time, they'll be graduating from this school, and then staff are going to be like, what are we going to do without you? Because this world wouldn't be a better place without our staff, our principal, and it wouldn't be better without all these respectful students we have here. And another EA, but I had a different elementary school at Fairview. She told me before that when I changed my life just last year, she said, this world wouldn't be a better place without you. And basically that really surprised me, because how would this whole world be a better place if I didn't know everybody? Like, I don't know any of you guys, besides I know some staff workers. But it's, like I said, it's easy to make new people. Like, I'm hoping to stay for a bit after this assembly, and if you want to meet up with me, I'm absolutely wanting to talk with you. Like, don't be shy. I'm always free to talk, because I'm always here for you guys. Like, I'm serious. Like, don't be like, I'm shy, right? So that's all I really want to talk about today. My life and the things I've been struggling through, but now they approved. So I want to start with some questions. So how are we going to do this for questions? Because we're going to have a mic on the mic stand. So how are we going to do it, one at a time? Okay, so if you have a question, raise up your hand if you have a question, and then, okay, so if you have a question, then walk up here to the mic, and then just ask me your question. Okay. Well, for me, when I was younger, You can say there, don't worry. Well, it really depends on what type of thing you have. Like, when I had autism, I just see things different. That's where I'm currently at right now, through my whole entire life. And this is why I had physical stuff, was because I was just different. And also when I was saying not really like certain things like everybody else do. So basically, I just see things different. I don't have like Asperger's or any type of syndromes like that, no. But I just see things different. I'll just answer that question again. Yes. How did they figure out I had autism? Well, I didn't really know about this because basically I wasn't even talking quite yet. But I realized that in a newspaper article back in 2001, in October of 2001, basically it was talking about how I was diagnosed with autism and basically how it happened and when it happened. And that's what I was saying. In April 2001, that was when I was diagnosed with autism. And actually, I'll give you a fact too. Autism Awareness Month didn't happen in April back then. It was October. But now it's in April. So basically, I didn't really knew about this until I was about 6 years old. But even though I was diagnosed at 2.5, I didn't really know about it until I was really talking at 6 years old. Yeah. 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 People sometimes have delays, like with diapers and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take a grade 7 up there. Well, when I was younger, I really wish I didn't. But actually, when I was in my life right now, actually I like having it. Like people will find that really surprising. I know people that are like that. Like, of course, people are liking this, that, why do I have autism? But for me, I'm actually okay with it. I love teaching it. So I love being autistic while I teach. Hmm. You in the back there. Yep. Well, basically, it can be fun at times, but it's fun for me right now just presenting to you guys. Absolutely. But I was glad to present, and autism can be fun once you get used to it, of course. You're right there. Probably maybe grade 7 these days. Is it scary with autism? I have a good fact about that. I forgot to mention this. Parents, some with some parents, but this happened with my parents. They were shocked the first time I was diagnosed with autism, even though I didn't know that. They were shocked. They're like, how are we gonna do this with my son? And I think they had to do things completely different by the time I got diagnosed. So it can be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, well, I'll take him. Yeah. What does it feel like? I think the way it would feel like is just basically by how my attitude is. Like, remember when I was saying earlier that I had a crazy life in elementary school, but then in high school I achieved? Because remember, you change a lot. Like, by the time I turn into my 20s, when years go by in 5 years, basically, I'm going to be different. Just by looks and everything. Of course. It can be hard at the beginning, of course. Like when especially for parents, when parents are diagnosed with autism, when parents find out that your son or daughter is diagnosed, that could be a struggle. Of course. I'll take you. I'm just so popular. How are you? How autism affects my life today. I think basically how autism really affects me right now is basically by change. And just the difference is, this is the first time I've ever done a real presentation in an elementary school. This is the first time. And I'm not nervous about, the one thing is I'm never nervous about this type of thing. When I'm just in front of students and staff, it doesn't get me nervous. But unless family comes, like if my family, then I get freaked out. But basically, since they're not here, it doesn't get me freaked. So.
Can some things make you anxious or stressed out a little bit more, like noises or crowds?
Well, I think the one thing I get stressed is when I walk into a house and I see a huge crowd of family. I think that's the only one thing I really get like anxious and all that. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. You should probably do one more. Okay, I'll take one more. Yeah, I'll take yeah.
If you didn't have autism, would it be easier?
If I didn't have autism, it would have been easier. But remember, like when I was young, it was hard for me because I didn't get used to autism yet. But if I didn't have autism, I'd be like a regular person like you and Mrs. Boyd and everybody. And yeah, and it's good to be different. Not everybody's the same way. Everybody's completely different. Okay. Oh, and he has.
I have a problem. I'm like sitting still.
Sitting still, yeah. Yeah, I've had those problems before. Oh. Okay. What makes me have autism? Basically, I know stimming was a one thing. Where I stimmed at things on the ceiling, yeah, like that. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Your questions were really, really good, and I see there's so many of them, but it's also almost big assessment. So Mrs. Mansbridge over there has offered that if there are kids that want to stay, or in your classroom, if it's possible for teachers to write down the questions, we can have Matthew answer them and send back the answers to your classrooms. Because
Yeah.
honestly, I'm impressed with the quality of the questions. You guys have all asked really good questions.
Yeah.